Okay, here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by a killer cast. We got Kwaku L, as well as Tember Harward, just like Harvard, but Harward. Don't screw it up like I did for the first year. We're also connected via the interwebs with none other than Luke Hansen. And what's your apostolic name again, Brad? We said you were going to be
I don't have one.
Taylor
it's just
Whitbeck.
Brad Whitbeck.
B. Taylor Whitbeck, Apostle 2024. It's happening.
Hey.
Anyway, yeah, dude, this, whoa, what about this week, guys? It has been absolutely crazy. Tell us, who wants to lead? What's going on? Kwaku, what's happening, man? This has been crazy. What's going on, dude?
So, video went viral of a bishop resigning from his calling in sacrament meeting. And so we watched it, and then he kind of made a little follow-up that was posted on Reddit, directed at ex-Mormons and Mormons. And as we were searching for that video to do a live stream response to it, we figured out that yesterday another bishop also publicly resigned in England, and we couldn't figure out which video to do. So two bishops have just resigned, and one guy's from Mississippi, one guy's from England. They couldn't be more different types of people.
And so we're going to analyze this because we watched the video, and man, there's so much to take issue with right off the bat that I won't spoil it with my opinions yet. And we do want to give these people a fair shake, though. You know, we do want to approach this with an open mind.
And also, to be fair, it must be hard to be bishop when you're constantly having to be in all 10 Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah. Just like, I didn't know Vin Diesel was actively serving in Mississippi.
Why do you think he talks so much about family?
Yeah, it's true. He brings a No, honestly, we can't do these without me making one comparison to a celebrity that they look like.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Vin Diesel's a good-looking guy. So this guy won. He's like the Jason Statham / Vin Diesel as a bishop. You see, he can't be a bishop. He needs to be like Church Danite. Like, he needs to be out there like fighting bad guys on behalf of Russell M. Nelson. You know what I mean? That's his calling. He's jacked. Look at his muscles.
Yeah.
They're busting through that suit. He's like holding up the paper. I can't do this calling anymore. Yeah, you can't hold the pencil to get inside the door. You're so jacked. I mean,
that's funny. Also, I just realized, I don't know why it does this, but look, Zoom has just flipped us.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah, look, now I'm facing the other way, and now I'm facing this way. This is great. These transitions are going to be totally awesome, man. So anyway.
Actually, I just got a text from someone who said that he didn't resign. He was asked to step down from putting creatine in the sacrament water. So I don't know.
See, he looks more like Alex Jones to me, so maybe he was putting chemicals in the water.
Really?
To freaking frogs today.
No. Oh, yeah.
It was freaking frogs.
Yeah, guys, he misinterpreted what they meant when they said that he needed to follow the way.
Whey protein.
Yeah, and that was a good one.
This is our nicest roast ever. We're roasting a guy for being in shape.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, cool. Well, here, without any further ado, we're just going to watch this. We're going to watch it at maybe 1.5 speed, though, because it's a 7.5 minute video, and I don't want it to go too long. So we're going to watch this at 1.5 speed here and just, let him say in supposedly his own words, as was posted on the internet. I don't know how heavily edited this is, though. Because I noticed there was definitely
it cut out a couple of random places.
Yeah, it definitely cut out in a couple of spots, and I don't know how edited it is, but yeah, we're gonna check this out and just let him say his piece, and then we're gonna do our reaction to it. So here we go. Latter-day Saint Bishop resigns over the pulpit. This is Mississippi guy. Mississippi guy, go.
2.5 years ago, when I was called to be bishop, President Richardson came to my home. He sat down on my couch with my wife and I and issued the call. When we left the home, I was quite emotional, but I remember shutting the door behind him. And the words from section 121 came in my mind. It is the nature and disposition of almost all men. As soon as they give a little authority as they suppose, they begin to exercise unrighteous dominion. And the Spirit said, don't you ever do it.
Okay, cool. This kind of seems pretty boilerplate opening up here. Let's continue, see who's got to say.
I've thought about it and I never have. I was talking with Brother Torres this morning. You know the word Israel means we who wrestle with God. I want to tell you about a wrestle I've had. Ernest Hemingway once said the most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving something or someone too much and forgetting that you're special too. I owe it to my work family to hear it from me. I've asked to be released.
Okay, so just so anybody that is just tuning in knows what we're watching. We're watching the kind of viral video about a Latter-day Saint bishop in Mississippi who just resigned. There's a video supposedly taken by we don't know who, but somebody obviously in the congregation. And we're going to be analyzing it, doing a reaction to it. That was the first edit, though. You know, it's about 20 seconds ago. That was the first edit. So, unfortunately, this is the longest form video that we could find of the issue. It's the one that was also posted on Reddit. However, it has been edited, so I don't know what they edited out. If anybody does know or was there, hey, feel free to feel free to opine inside the comments. Also, just another reminder, please like the stream as you come in, and if you guys have any comments that are germane to the conversation and you want to make them, please make them. We try and read all of our super chats online. So anyway, this is indeed the video right here. We're going to be analyzing it. I just also want to make sure though that we actually showed it in its entirety as best we could, even though there are some edits. This is the longest version that we can. So anyway, here we go. Back to Les Biches.
Can I say something?
Say something.
Or do you want to let it run further before we do any commentary?
Well, actually, no. Say what you got to say really fast, and we'll let it run further.
I just think I've seen it already. So knowing where he's going with this, I actually find it deeply ironic that he started off with the thing about DNC 121 and not practicing unrighteous dominion, and then using his position as a bishop to then make this speech that he made about resigning,
Yeah, like I actually had kind of
that feels off to me,
I felt very much off like this as well, because I was thinking, dude, if this were my issue, let's just say the worst case scenario is true. This totally has the vibe of somebody that's lost their faith. The people that lose their faith to, like, I don't know, evangelical Christianity or just general atheism and stuff don't do this. This totally has the vibe of somebody who's gone Exmo, because you're a rock star if you do something like this in the Exmo subreddit community. So just from the very beginning, I just thought, my spider senses are tingling, right? I'll tell you how.
And the fact that it was recorded this way, when that's actually something you're not supposed to do in your ward. You're not supposed to whip out phones and start recording things in sacrament.
Well, that's also just not even a Mormon rule. Like, that's just like if I'm going to my buddy's mass. You know what I'm saying? I don't just whip out a phone and start recording the priest and things like that. And unfortunately, the ex-Mormon community has made rock stars out of these people, and the more public the resignation, the better. I mean, Jeremy Runnels literally had like a DJ and giant speakers in the back of a truck that he hopped onto as people are like cheering as though they're tailgating at some kind of University of Utah game. Okay. So that was actually the very first thing that made my spider senses tingle. Not the idea that somebody lost their faith or that somebody gained their faith. People gain faith and lose faith literally every single day.
And so far, I mean, he's just saying he's resigning from the calling.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, not the church.
So I was afraid it was going to be some kind of nothing burger that people were blowing out of proportion because they're so desperate to make a negative narrative about maybe a guy who was just kind of overwhelmed and decided to quit. So my spider senses were only tingling. They were vindicated later, but at this point they were only tingling, and I was trying to wait and see more. So anyway,
so this is my first time watching this. I decided to come in, fresh, so I could
you're the
have
fresh
reaction
eyes
on the live stream. I'm a little confused. So he had some sort of meeting with the stake president. The audio is kind of choppy, and then he announces his resignation, and now he's going to explain why. Is that
that's what you would think. That's what you would think. So we're going to let it play.
Okay.
Not because of some sin, not because I'm hiding something. No. There's just a few things that I've been required to do that I personally cannot morally stand by. I can't.
Okay, pause.
So I need to.
Okay, yeah.
So he says there's a few things I've been asked to do that I personally cannot morally stand by.
Yes.
So the
I want to know what it is.
yeah, the rest of I don't want to spoil it, but the rest of this talk, you're like, what's the thing? We never figure out the thing. I have no clue what that they ask him to kill somebody. I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that on the
Yeah.
Like what?
They're like, blood atonement's back, baby.
Yeah, I don't. What did they ask him to do? And there's all this speculation in the comments, and people are putting here's what we think, but we have no clue. So if they asked him to do something, whether it's a stake president or whoever asked him to do something, they said, no, I can't do that. I have to remove myself from this calling. That's kind of a huge deal. That means what Mississippi stake president is asking him to do things that violate his conscience. So we should probably hear something about that. But after this, it kind of just gets dropped, and we have no clue.
I wonder if that was part of what got cut out in what got posted, right? Or though the cuts don't appear to be around anything where that would have been brought up.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, I think it's important that people know that he's not resigning because of like sin or whatever, the thing that he said right before, right? I think that's good to.
Well, that's
say
because
to
if you
your
go
ward.
Exmo, you're not a sinner, you're a saint. You're saving everybody. You're from the brainwashing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like,
no.
That's
But
such
I mean,
a
like,
presuppositionalist.
but even
argument.
if it was like if it were his stake president to have been saying this, I think it would be good for his stake president to also be like, this isn't like him being let go for some egregious sin. He's asked to be able to resign, right? Like that's an important thing to clarify, I think.
He didn't cheat on his wife. That's usually it wasn't.
Yeah, people
I
will
didn't
think
cheat,
that,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there's some reason to address some of that stuff.
Well, also we're assuming that this is done under the permission of the stake presidency. If I were a stake president, I wouldn't have him do this. Because it's obvious that he's resigned and gone Exmo. I would totally see this coming a mile away. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, so you're obviously involved on internet forums that heavily reward this kind of behavior. I don't want that to happen because currently you're looked up to by many people that are youth, many people that are primary children. There's parents in our ward that are entrusting their kids' religious education with you. And if you don't believe anymore, dude, that's fine. That's great. I'm not going to force you to believe. Dude, go out. Do what you want to do. Live your life, right? But, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't give too much details. But, I mean, he's on Exmo subreddit with pinned comments within 72 hours of this happening, but shows that obviously there was deep consumership there before, okay, and that was familiar territory, which means this was coming. It was planned. I don't think this was something that was condoned by the stake presidency, and if it was, they're absolute idiots.
So my question is, though, he also opened with a scripture, right?
Yeah.
Doctrine and Covenants. So we don't know, like, I mean, obviously we know he basically insinuated that he's leaving the church on the video after this, but what flavor? Is he going, pneumo? Is he going exmo? Is he going, what? And to be honest with you, I know what you're thinking. Okay, well, after you're done this video, the follow-up video is going to clarify everything, right, guys?
Yeah.
Right? The follow-up video is going to be so clear. It is less clear that it's like the Catholic episode where we're trying to figure out which guys are speaking in, like, Hungarian or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we had no clue what was going on. That's what it's like.
Okay.
I think there's two things that make it pretty clear, but let's go all the way through and then see.
Okay, all right. Let's see what he's got to say. Here we go. Go.
For me and my family, it's not been easy, but I feel in many ways I'm failing the word. I know this is hard, I understand. But I have to be true to my feelings. I've been angry. Every Sunday people look at me and they're like, man, Bishop, something wrong.
Okay, now that I can relate to. You know what I'm saying? I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? That one I can relate to. Let's keep going.
I can't do that to you. I won't. Because that turns to anger and bitterness and malevolence. I've got written down a few things, if it's okay if I could just share
pause
my
right here real
thoughts.
quick?
Yeah, sure.
I just, watching this, I mean, it's kind of a nothing burger, as we're kind of alluding to already.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, I think he's going about it pretty tactfully. He's not really attacking the church. He's saying, but it does sound like there's some underlying issues here. it sounds like there's a lot of
Yeah, I know. We
mental
want to
health
get
stuff
to it.
going.
What they tell you to do, man.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
biggest thing. You
that's-
can't just...
Yeah.
Hey, Tember.
And what's
here.
what's the timeline here? Does he say like when did this meeting happen?
No,
How
he
long
doesn't
has he been
say.
like this? Okay.
But if I called you up and I said, "Hey, your wife just asked me to do something pretty insane." So anyway, have you see the oath?
I
You'd be
would've
like,
said-
"What? Don't move on.
You
What
do?
was the thing?" You know, like. So-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going. See what he's got to say. Let him continue. Go.
Sometimes, due to church culture, we feel that we're not supposed to turn down or step away from a calling. I wish I had known it was okay to say to myself, I'm not okay.
Well, okay, which by the way is like super understandable. I mean, being a bishop is the most difficult job in the church, and if he's talking about how like, man, I'm not doing a good job balancing my volunteer work with personal stuff that I have to deal with. In fact, the burden of being in charge of a lot of people like this. I mean, being a scoutmaster in a ward that's big is difficult. So I was actually kind of like empathizing with this guy at this point, because going into it with eyes wide open, the fact that it was like posted on a bunch of forums was being lauded kind of made my spider senses tingle. But kind of similar to how you said, Tember, I thought it might have been just like a big nothing burger, maybe just an overworked guy can't handle anymore, which is totally understandable. It wasn't until later where I was like, okay, my spider senses were totally justified. But yes, up until now, at this point, I was like, okay, cool. Seems like a guy's just, it's too much to handle at once.
I'm not as strong as I thought I was. To seek excellence is important. I don't. That's my life. I seek excellence. More, doing more, being successful. It's so much more important to know that you're okay. And I haven't been okay. This calling, guys, it is so hard. You have to keep everything to yourself. And it builds up. And it is exhausting. And it has broken me.
Okay, saying it's broken you. Oh, I don't know, man. That goes against everything every one of my friends that's ever been in a bishopric or served in a bishopric has talked about. I've had friends that have said I had no idea how I was going to pull it off, but I was wildly blessed. But at that point, like if I'm hearing that, where like if I were a stake president, a guy saying like, "Oh, this is breaking me," I'd be like, "Dude, let's freaking release you tomorrow." You know what I'm saying? This is that's too much. So I don't see how this would have fit within the hierarchy of the church, especially because bishops are so constantly interviewed and met with different church authorities and things like that. Even in the most rural place, you're in constant contact with authority. So I don't see how the breaking of a bishop could have happened under the tutelage of, I don't know. It's just, is this make it's like, it's just this wasn't adding up in my mind.
Sorry, Jonah just sent in a super chat.
What did
said
he say?
he was asked to shave his beard. #, but I won't do that.
Savage, man. The honor code stops on BYU campus. It stops. So anyway, okay, let's just let him finish.
I mean,
saying,
I can see something. Oh, sorry, someone else was saying something.
No, go ahead, Brad.
I can see. I mean, being a bishop is a very difficult calling. I think you got to lean on your counselors a lot to make it through a lot of the time. I don't know if he's at the breaking point, though. I just don't think this is the way to do this.
Well, also, this is another reason why I don't think that it was sanctioned by church leadership. Do you get what I'm saying?
Because, as we continue watching, I wonder, is this camera on a tripod?
Oh no, it's wiggling. It'd be wiggling.
Oh, yeah?
It's somebody holding it up.
Yeah. Phone.
All right. So anyway, here let's let him finish what he's saying. There's only about 1 minute left. Go.
I didn't have good parents. I wish they would have told me I was enough. They never have. That whether I had worth or not wasn't contingent on how I acted. We are not loved for what we do or what we are going to do. We are loved for who we are.
Okay, that's true. And by the way, my heart breaks. I mean, if that's true, that, you know, his parents were ineffectual communicators of what is inherently the most well understood aspect of love once you become a parent, which is that unconditional love that a father or a mother has towards their children, then yeah, that's a drastic dereliction of duty. And you can carry those traumas for a lot longer than you realize. But the gospel helps with that more than anything. Secular society ain't helping you. You know, Tember, you want? Yeah, I got something to say.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, when he's talking about this issue with his parents, that's why I'm saying there's something a lot deeper that's going on here, and it sounds just like what he's alluding to in this whole thing is that he seems to be picking at the church culture where we're so action oriented, and that you need to do certain things in order to have value, in order to be saved and whatnot. And I think that's probably, at least from my opinion, what he's resigning over, is that he feels like the church is too unchristian, like, and probably is listening to other non-denominational voices about how we're just a work saves you kind of religion. That's at least what I'm getting from it, because it doesn't sound like he's lost his faith, because later in the video, spoiler alert, he says to focus on Jesus. So he hasn't lost his faith in that quite yet. At least from what it seems like.
It's weird. There's some things that aren't making sense. Like, if you're going to go this direction, you wouldn't have said that. If you're going to go this direction, you wouldn't have said that. So that's the reason why I said, hey, my spider senses are tingling on this, but let's let him finish saying, so we don't put any words in his mouth. Go.
Not an expectation, but who we are. And to feel love for who you are is the most sacred kind of love. It's a gift that we have the opportunity to give to ourselves. If I could just say one more thing towards the youth, because they are the reason I've stayed as long as I have. I love them.
But, like, the reason you stayed as long as you have against what headwind here? Like, I guess I'm still just looking for the...
I'm so confused.
Yeah, like, what are we alluding to here, man?
I'm eating a bread sandwich right now.
Yeah, it's...
Like, where's the provolone? Where's the turkey? Give me the meat.
Yeah.
We're missing this central thing. What did they ask you to do?
Yes, exactly. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm like, what is it that we are actually talking about here? But
And this makes me nervous that Exmos apparently are happy about this, because it's like they'll just be happy about misery as long as it happens inside the church, no matter what the source is.
Well, I think also,
and that's not a good way to approach issues.
The way everything's worded here, it's very easy for any person listening to just project whatever they think into what he's saying, right? So when they're like, he was asked to do something morally objectionable, and Exmo might be like, oh yeah, he like stood up against the church for being bad, right? Like, that's maybe going to be how they interpret it. Where somebody who's within the church might be like, what was the church asking you to do that would be morally objectionable, right?
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Do we have some super chats to catch up with really fast? Brad, could you just catch us up on some super chats really quickly?
Absolutely.
Before we
So,
have Homeboy finish?
We've got from Matthew Glossinger and Kelsey's comments. Thank you for the donations. And then we've got from PC, Go Ward Radio. I appreciate your insights. Okay. And we got to welcome Matthew Murray to the ward. So W in the chat.
WWW.
W for Matthew
There we
Murray.
go.
We have received the records of one Matthew Murray. Those who would like to welcome into the ward, please put a W in the chat. As well as there was also somebody that joined at the very, very beginning of the chat before the live stream started. Did you happen to get his name? There was somebody that jumped in. Who is it? Who is it that jumped in?
Oh, as a member?
Yeah, as a member.
Let me find that real fast.
There was somebody right before. As soon as it started, it reset my
I did not see them.
See
but
it?
if you want to comment it, I'll see it.
Yes, if you want to comment, I'll recognize the name, but somebody just joined today as a member before the chat started. Anyway, keep going, Brad.
Yeah, and then the last, Brian Bacon. When you lads debated RFM, his final statement was, "I won't ever have to hate people again." Amazing to me, all these guys hate service. It's always that. Oh, no. It was, "I'll never have to home teach people again." I saw HT and thought, hate. I'll never have to home teach people again. So amazing to me, all these guys hate service. It's always that. I think there's something that the bishop says here that suggests it's not that, but that's funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's rough, dude. Jeez. Okay, well, here, let's let him finish so we know exactly what he said. Oh, yeah.
Kelsey's comments just said he specifically invited his anti-Mormon brother to come to church with him to record this.
Do we know
And
that?
Where did she hear that?
Yeah, I'll ask her.
Yeah,
I think people in the chat are talking about how that is somewhere in the comments on Reddit.
Okay, well, and we're actually going to go there. Yeah, as we glean the facts about what happened here and study the anatomy of a failure, we will will hopefully verify if that is true. So anyway, let's let him finish saying what he's going to say here.
Yeah.
If there's ever injustice in the world, young men, young women, there's not many here, but listen. If there's ever injustice in the world, fight it. If there's ever a bully somewhere, stand up to it. And if you ever have something to say, say it. Just say it. Don't fear.
Well, does that include us calling BS?
The irony is he's not saying whatever he needs to be saying.
Yeah,
to me anyway.
Say. Okay, cool. All right. I'm glad I wasn't the only one that was thinking that. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Fear. Get rid of fear. And if you don't have any, and if you don't want to do that, that's okay. You're still enough. Instead of judgment, choose compassion. Instead of division, see everyone as you living a different life.
Okay, so these are really heavy claims, saying that like the youth are divided by judgment and not compassion, and that they should choose that, not compassion. But unfortunately, I haven't really had any smoking gun he's alluded to here of like something that's happened. Did I miss it?
And was that edited out of the talk?
I don't know.
I haven't seen too many cuts yet, so that's
okay.
There have been a couple cuts.
Yeah, there's been a couple,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they were just for time or what. So I assume if what Kelsey's comment says is true, that in the subreddit comments that he had invited his anti-Mormon brother in order to record him. His brother was probably smart enough to know that he was recording and it was going to go on ex-Mormon subreddit, and that anything that might be analyzed in this exact same form that it's getting analyzed right now should be taken out.
You think he would have included the juicy stuff, though? Like, oh, Joseph Smith was a charlatan, and that's why I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, here we go. Let's let him finish what he has to say.
And remember, maybe I'll say it like Alma, and remember, if you're enough, everyone else is too. You are redeemed. You are always forgiven, no matter what. Jesus was a man who came to know the Christ. Seek Christ. Seek only Christ.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm talking about there is he's referencing specifically seek Christ, seek only Christ. And that's why I think he's like bought into a lot of anti-Mormon, non-denominational Christian doctrines that, you know, we're such a work-based salvation religion that, you know, here he's really emphasizing just focus on Jesus. That's the only way, which is like, it's not a bad way to look at things, but there's also the other side of it. So, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Are we seeing the origin story of the male Lynn Wilder? Like, is that what this is? Or I'm just so confused what's going on here.
And he hasn't given us enough information.
Yeah.
I feel like to even say, is he coming? Is this like, did his Baptist buddy get him, or is he just saying seek only Christ? Don't seek your callings as fulfillment. Like, I don't know what he's, because I mean that makes sense, but I said earlier this guy could outweigh a Japanese businessman because he's straight up will not get to the meat, and we don't know what's happening.
Okay, well, I'm going to play the rest of this at 1.5 speed after Brad says what he's got to say. Say what you got to say, Brad.
He might be about to say the thing that I'm thinking of, so we'll let him finish.
Well, this is happening at 1.5 speed here because, so far this has been a wild nothing burger other than I resign because I've been asked to do morally unacceptable things that I just can't stand idly by and do, and I'm going to, instead of staying and fight. This is the other weird thing is I always think if you love the youth so much and they were in such a morally compromised situation, wouldn't you stay and fight for them? This is why I never believe the internal rhetoric of these people that try and self-aggrandize as they, rage quit from the podium or rage quit from the parking lot of the chapel, is that if you're really being an Exmo who is so vocal and so, loud and proud online in the name of saving X, Y, or Z minority group or X, Y, or Z youth group or whatever, why would you leave it? Wouldn't you stay inside? Like if you asked to do something so morally reprehensible that you need to straight up quit being your bishop, why aren't the cops there and you're pointing fingers at the person who told you to do it? Like, why are you just leaving the chapel? You know what I'm saying? And all the women and children inside to be devoured by these morally reprehensible reprobates. Like that's why I can never believe this hero narrative that always it seems like there's always this, they turn the exit on its head so that it's like some kind of glorious thing. The only problem is if you abandon people in their hour of need, you're not glorious, you're abandoning them, right? So this is why it never added up to me. Let's finish 1.5 speed, see what he has to say.
I realize a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions. I do. Join the club. So do we. This is not easy for my family. This is not easy at all. It hasn't been easy for anybody. This is not going to continue to be easy. We want you to know we love you. I told Jeff this morning, I said, if we get called for tornado work, he's still riding shotgun. I'm just not going to wear the silly shirt. And I know Brother Bailey has prepared quite a bit for the next hour, so I will sit down, but I want you to know how to do. This is very hard for me. And it's hard for you. But I know it's the right thing to do. Someone else who's better suited will do the job. So with that being said, let's close out the meeting. We'll just do it. It's kind of ironic. By seeing hymn number 227, there's sunshine in my soul today. After which we'll have a benediction, and I totally forgot who it was supposed to give the prayer. Somebody knows this gum paper. Brother Oscar. I knew that. After which Brother Oscar will give the benediction.
Okay, so that's it right there. That's everything you know as much as we knew up until that point.
So there's a thing that he said that raised a flag for me. When he said, if a tornado comes, I'm still going to be sitting shotgun with you to go out and fix it. I just won't be wearing one of those silly shirts.
Is that the Mormon Helping Hands shirts that they make you wear? Or
so.
what?
Yeah, so I think that might be... That to me sounds like he's out, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's obvious from the very beginning that is what is going on here.
I wish it was obvious. I don't think it is. I think,
but then
he's
he keeps
very vague.
Then he keeps quoting the Book of Mormon, so it's like,
well, actually, I should have said from the very beginning. But I should have said within 20 to 25% in, I was like, okay, this is where it's going, and just to see what I was thinking, I just really quickly Googled. And look what comes up the second you hit. I just literally Googled ex-Mormon subreddit, Mississippi Bishop quits. And what is the top pinned comment on ex-Mormon subreddit? Mississippi Bishop just wants to say thank you and I love you all so damn much. So it's a pinned comment and we can watch this video and we can react to that as well. But if all of a sudden within...
Now, here's another weird thing.
Okay.
We touched on this, but I wanted to finish the video before getting into it. When he said Jesus was a man who came to know the Christ, that was a different way of saying that than what normally gets said. And I wonder what he meant with that. Because to me, this doesn't sound like a pneumo sort of thing. This sounds like a dude who is leaving because he has decided that the church is doing harm to people, right?
In his follow-up video, he kind of makes some like spiritualist kind of
sounds like New Age.
Yeah, he sounds a little
in
bit
this
New
one.
Agey, like non-dualistic. So, yeah, I mean,
Is that where you're going,
watch
Quaku?
it. You see, I love the New Age. I love the New Age stuff, but like, I like it 75%.
Yeah.
Like the last 25, they get rid of all the you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
They have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof.
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of it. Okay, well, let's let him say what he wants to say. This came up, and it's the video posted on Xborn subreddit. So here it goes from the very beginning.
I pray.
Oh wait, nope, start from the beginning. Here we go.
Good morning, everybody. Exmo Reddit, Mormon Reddit. This is all fairly new to me. We have to remember that these people are just simply us who haven't yet learned the truth. I don't know what the answer is. Part of me thinks if we stop talking about it and just love them, maybe that's the answer.
Okay, so I get the whole arrogant, they're stupid, we're wiser, you're the people with the Gnostic truth and all those troglodyte, knuckle-dragging, idiot believers. Like, this is the way atheists talk,
Who's supposed to be the us and them in this statement?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
Active members against the enlightened Exmos.
Yeah, because he talks about brainwashing in just a second.
But
Oh,
also
yeah,
he
can we
says
get to
they
that?
don't know yet the truth of what. At least early Christian missionaries, when they were going out to the pagans, said love them in spite of the fact that they don't know Jesus. Or it's like they don't know of the resurrection. Or like I keep waiting for this thing. Like, you've called me brainwashed. You've called me morally reprehensible. You've called me a participant in a system that's action-based and not love-based. You've told me that I'm in an organization that does not understand unconditional love, even though that's literally the primary message of Russell M. Nelson, our current prophet. If he had to choose one, which he did, it was that of unconditional love. I mean, tangentially, I know he wasn't speaking to me, and he was just the bishop of a Mississippi ward. But, like, this is my faith, too. His ward is not that much different from mine. In fact, his pulpit, I think, is cut on the exact same router in whatever factory in Salt Lake City makes pulpits built in the 80s or 90s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're going to tell me that I'm part of all of this morally reprobate organization, please, I've given you 50 sentences. In one of those sentences, can you tell me what it is?
And
I think he's
here's
going
the
to
thing.
allude to it.
He's going to allude to it. So here we go.
I hope so. As he's about to, I think he came off far more compassionate, and in his prepared comments, and this off the cuff thing comes off, like you said, Cardin, pretty dang arrogant and a little bit condescending.
I'm transitioning from being confused and like, okay, to now I'm starting to be pretty annoyed at this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even. Remember, this whole thing it supposedly comes from the catalyst of he was asked to do something that violated his moral compass.
Yeah,
and I still don't know what that thing is. So, like, maybe in this one he'll get to it.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
Let's see
but,
what happens.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, let's see what he says.
Maybe we quit dogging Joseph and Brigham. Those people have heard it. They know.
Those
What
people.
do we know?
He said
those
wait,
people.
did he say quit dogging or
Quit
dodging?
dogging on
Quit dogging.
Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. Those people are. I mean, the absolute disassociation already.
But what does that mean? Quit dogging on Joseph and Brigham. Those people know. They know. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Who's the we? Who's the them?
And
So
dogging.
is
Is he talking ex-Mormon? Stop dogging on Joseph? Is he? I don't know what this guy is saying. I feel like
he read Apologia Studios' green booklet and the
no,
Journal of
dude. We don't have enough info for that.
Yeah, I know. So here we go. Let's go.
Okay.
They've just been brainwashed.
Ah, there it was.
But who? The people dogging on Joseph and
the
Brigham?
Mormons. The Mormons. He
Mormons.
said,
Us.
we need to stop dogging on the Mormons. Maybe we should just love them because they've already heard it about Joseph Smith. They've already heard the criticisms of Brigham Young. He's not very articulate about this, but he's like, they're just brainwashed. The Mormons are just brainwashed. So here he is. Now not only are we more morally reprobate, but we're brainwashed. So
Hold on.
Because that's the only way we could ever disagree with him, right? Is by being brainwashed. Otherwise, we would be enlightened like he is.
See, that's what irked me the most with this whole video is the whole brainwash comment. Because I'm like, I'm a convert to the church. I knew a lot of this crap. All the controversial stuff they say about Joseph Smith and Brigham, the polygamy, the Quakers on the moon, all these other common anti-remarks. And I still joined the church. And I definitely was not brainwashed. My mom brought me to the anti-cult ministry leader to tell me all the things about Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and the weird stuff that they taught and said. And so I was exposed to all this. Does that I definitely was not brainwashed. I joined in spite of all that. And in my honest opinion, all the anti-doctrine that I was exposed to has only strengthened my testimony. And so I really detest that argument that we're all just brainwashed and that's why we stay in the church.
Yeah. So we got a couple. Thank you very much, Tember. We got a couple of super chats to catch up on here. Glenn Hickman says, one thing I've learned for myself is that just because someone cries doesn't mean that they are saying it's true. Crying does not equal feeling the spirit. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. We've talked about that oftentimes. PC also gave us a super chat. Thank you, PC. Says there's a time and a place. He chose the wrong place. Yes, there's no way that this was something that was pre-approved by the stake presidency. In fact, I think they were foolish for letting him go another Sunday because it was obvious that this is where there's going. Greg Davis, welcome to the Telestial Kingdom. We've received the records of one Greg Davis. Everybody would like to welcome Greg Davis to the Ward Radio Wigwam, the Ward Radio Warship. Please put a W in the chat for Greg Davis. And then
the
Brad,
Ward Radio War Room.
Or the Ward Radio War Room. Yes, that's
WR
right.
squared.
WR squared. I dig it. What did you want to say, Brad? You want to say something, my man?
Oh, just when you were talking about, like, if you're the stake president, don't let him continue because you know where it's going. I think he's probably dealing with a stake president who's a person who's expecting him to behave, like, honorably. I think it's very, very dishonorable to go up and use your position as a bishop to then put yourself in a position where you get to say what you want. I do think that he was trying to be good about it. I think he was trying to not say too many specifics. So in an effort, I think in his mind, he's doing that to keep from, like, antagonizing the ward or aggravating them too much, right? But at the same time, he's using his position
but then
of
you
authority.
record it. And then how many days later you go on and
but then that's an email.
Us versus them, brainwash.
And so here's the thing. He recorded it. He used his position of authority and absolutely did the thing that he started off his testimony saying he would swear never to do. He used his position of authority to then go out there and hold his entire congregation hostage for his "I'm out of here" speech.
Yeah. So PC says, did someone tell him Santa's not real? Oh, wait, what? Hey, now I'm having a Santa faith crisis. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, okay. I think we were all caught up on super chats. Yeah. Brad.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm like this. Let's let him finish saying what he's going to say here. Unfortunately, Reddit doesn't let you listen to things at 1.5 speed, but it's only a 3-minute clip. And there's, I've already gone through almost half of it. So we'll let him see what else he has to say. But yeah, this whole thing, it's not adding up to me.
They can call it whatever they want, but that's what it is. But our family's doing okay. We have been struggling so much. We've taken advantage of friends in the church to help us cope with the realization of what we've come to know.
Yeah, what? You're using friends in the church to cope with the realization of what you've come to know? Which is?
So, this affects so many people. And people are so tender.
What's this?
What affects so many people?
Yeah, I don't know, but that diesel in the background is rocking. I mean, I don't know if that's like a Chevy 350 that's towing a fifth wheel or something, but that diesel in the background is cruising. Let's keep going.
Both on either side, both Mormon and non-Mormon.
Wait, pause.
But
Pause.
just so
Pause.
you know-
Pause.
Okay, I'm
pause,
pausing.
Pause. Okay, he said this mysterious thing affects so many people on both sides of Mormon and non-Mormon. So, is this the thing he's referring to that his stake president or whatever asked him to do? I am mind-boggled.
There's no details because details would assume data, and it's not a decision made in data. It's not logical. All of these anti-Mormon arguments, whether they're from the evangelical perspective or whether they're in the CES letter, when you actually dive into the data and you actually talk to the real historians, not the fake ones that make up bite models and crap like that just to write books against Donald Trump and conservative Christians. Okay, when you actually dive into the data, none of the anti-Mormon arguments make sense. So I can tell you it's not based off data. And the reason why we're not getting a smoking gun is because there is none. It's an emotional decision. But he doesn't have the courage or the emotional fortitude to go out there and say, oh, you know what? This is an emotional decision. I don't want to do it. The guys that just want to go golfing on Sunday don't have the guts to just say, I'd rather golf on Sunday than go to church. So they make up some highfalutin roundabout giant moral house of cards about how they're brave warriors who are fighting these morally degenerate things that they've been asked to do, and can never give details because details would insinuate data, and data would have to be defended. Now it's heavily rewarded. The Exmo anti-Mormon community is going to love this, and they're going to lionize this guy, and they're going to eat up the euphemistic sound bites. But the rest of us that want to know, okay, what should I be protecting my children from that you had to rush out of your position as bishop for, even though you say that you're only stayed for the youth? Well, if you love the youth so much that you will stay amongst a bunch of moral reprobates, like what needs to get fixed here? Don't just leave them. You're just going to abandon them in the middle of the ocean with sharks swarming around? You know, like this is why there's no logical connection that any of this makes, because it's not based off of logic. It's based off of obviously emotion. At least that's how it appears to me, because there's nothing substantive in this argument other than those people over there are brainwashed and into immorality that's so bad I can't hang out here anymore, and I've had to get friends to help me cope. Oh, and the friends that I'm getting are from within the church. Well, didn't you just say they're all the moral reprobates? This has the same amount of internal coherence as the people that go on Facebook end up talking about how racist Mormons are, how homophobic, how everything phobic they are, and how horrible they are, and how you just can't stand to be around those kind of people anymore. And then 2 or 3 weeks later say, where'd all my friends go? Why don't Mormons want to hang out with me? Well, because maybe you complained about me and called me every ist and obic in the book, and it made me question if you want to hang out or come to my birthday party anymore. And after you doing that for 3 weeks, I was like, wow, he definitely doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. So when I don't call you because you've literally said, I don't want to hang out with Mormons anymore, that's not my fault.
Now, here's the thing. Are we assuming a lot? Because he still referenced something he said that affects Mormons and non-Mormons. So we don't know what he referenced, but he's speaking
let's let
in code.
him finish. Yeah, let's let him finish here, okay?
He hasn't even started.
Yesterday was extremely heavy. For me, yes, but more for my wife and my kids. We're in Mississippi. There's no Exmo group in Mississippi.
Well, it's worldwide. I mean, it's Exmo subreddit. You're on Exmo subreddit talking about how you don't have a support group when Exmo subreddit is literally the largest subreddit on the entire platform. To act like this is some kind of geographically targeted argument or something like that, to me is just, that's nonsensical. But anyway, keep going.
I just want to say,
yeah.
I mean, he says there's no ex-Mormon support group out here. It sounds to me like he's Exmo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it
but
sounds
then
like
in
he
his
might
talk,
be
he's
referencing
talking about like Jesus and he's enough and quoting scriptures still.
No. He's enough was not talking about Jesus. That was like his weird new postmodern view of everyone's enough.
Well,
you never have to repent ever. That's how it came across to me.
He kind of gets into it later in the video, though.
Okay, let's let him finish. So again, we're not putting words in his mouth. We're letting him say what is his reasoning and giving him the floor. Let's see what he has to say.
They're homeschooled, so their friends. I pray that their friends will remain true to them, regardless of what they believe.
Well, I just hope that your kids treat their friends better than you just treated your entire congregation, and that it's probably going to go better for them than it did for you.
But I just won't subject my children to the programming anymore.
So you call friends from the church to help support you because they're supposedly such good people who mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort. And then in the exact same sentence, turn around and say, I won't subject them to friendship with Mormons anymore because it's just the programming. Like it's like the people, I don't like, how am I supposed to make sense of this when in the same sentence, you can't set up an archetype for me? Are those people over there the baddies or no? Are they the ones that you call when you're struggling and you have problems in life and you need an effective sounding board because they're wise, or you need comfort because they're comforting and nurturing people? Like, are they the good people? You're calling them your friends, or are these the baddies that program people? Like which one is it? Like, this is all literally from the same sentence. I'll just rewind like 3 seconds so you can see. Am I wrong?
But I just won't subject my children to the programming anymore. No more FSY trips. No more camps.
Okay, so FSY trips and camps. Those are the bad things, you say. Okay. Yeah, Tember?
Oh, no, sorry.
I thought you were raising your hand.
No.
Well,
Okay, cool.
I mean, I agree, but that's because of the dorky dancing and chocolate milk. But
Yeah,
I don't. Like,
exactly.
Let him finish this.
Yeah, let's see what he says.
No, that's where they abused me.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere, though. Like,
So he was abused.
If you say you're abused, give me the name. Let's get a burden of proof out there, and let's put homeboy in jail.
is he talking psychological abuse? Is he talking physical, emotional?
Let's let him go into the. Well, you have to be careful with their abuse because also that's like the new thing. Like, you know how gaslighting was a big word in 2023, and we're like, okay, ex-Mormon subreddit is using this word way too much, and then the article comes out that it's the most Googled word in 2023.
And nuance.
Is they've totally bastardized the word gaslighting. They've bastardized the word nuance. They've stolen the word tolerance, marriage. All of that love has been completely corrupted. And so now what is abuse? Abuse?
Yeah, I wish I knew what he meant. You know,
every girl that leaves a boyfriend now says that the boyfriend was abusive, verbally abusive, whatever, and a narcissist, and all that means is she didn't get what she want once. Yeah. You know, and it's
well,
like,
not always though, right? There are some girls where it actually was abuse, and it's just like
but the corruption of the terminology makes it so that the real abuse goes undetected because the term abuse now has been completely stolen by the secular left to mean I didn't get what I want, or I was in a situation I didn't like and I want to do damage to the person. So I'm just going to smear them with the word abuse label. And it's the boy who cried wolf. Like the biggest problem with the theft of words is they all fall victim to the boy who cried wolf. And abuse is just another word that has fallen victim to the boy who cried wolf. So, so far we've only received an allusion to some kind of abuse at a camp once, but that doesn't explain the thing that he was asked to do. Supposedly that was so morally reprehensible. So let's see what he's got to say.
Then we also have his parents that never loved him. So it seems like we have 3 different causes.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Now we do have some super chats to catch up on. Do we want to do that now or finish this video?
Well, let's finish the video, then we'll catch up with the super chats. Here's the rest of the video.
Things are changing. The world is changing. Don't believe the wars and the rumors you hear in the news. Yes, they're real, but that's all fog to put fear in the hearts and minds of the people.
Okay, don't believe the wars and the rumors. Well, the wars are real.
He says, don't believe the wars and the rumors. Yes, they're real, but it's all fear too.
He said they're not real, but I don't know. I think he was maybe just trying to be poetic and it failed. So fine, we all fail.
He said, don't believe the wars and the rumors, but didn't say rumors of wars and rumors. And he either said they're not real or yes, they're real.
Okay, I'll go back 5 seconds and we'll let him finish.
To put fear in the hearts and minds. Yes, they're real, but that's all fog. To put fear in the hearts and minds of the people. Look upward. Seek the higher self. That is where Christ is. He doesn't come from the clouds. He comes from within. We are so grateful for you guys. On both sides, I can't believe the love I've seen. Yeah, there's some assholes out there that just want to be negative, and that's fine. Let them have it. I've been that guy. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the love that you've made my family feel in a time where they felt nothing. You don't know what you've done for me. So I love you all. I pray that we may find peace. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Okay, so that was it.
I still have no clue what he's talking about, because so far there's something he was asked to do that was terrible. He said he was abused, and we need to seek the Christ within. He's not coming in the clouds. But
I'll
he
be
also
honest,
quotes
I
the
think
Book
this
of Mormon,
guy's
the Doctrine
going.
and Covenants.
I think this guy's going through something really, really difficult and hard. I
think so too.
I don't think.
Yeah,
it's,
this seems like a therapy type of, like, he needs to sit down with somebody and process something and figure out,
Yeah,
because he seems to not even know what it is he's trying to be mad about.
and this bothers
I
It
me
was my
because-
parents, but then it was the sick president, but then it was this.
can't hear him
But we
at
need
all.
to look for Jesus, but in a new age way. And like, I feel bad for him.
Well, that's
Yeah,
I really hope.
I think we need to pray for him.
That's what I was saying in the previous video. Is it sounds like there's some mental health issues going on from his family, and then in this one, it's what he went through at camp and FSY or whatever. And I'm like, maybe his whole issue with the church is more the cultural aspect, that the programs are abusive and destructive, and all you need to do is focus on Christ, and He's the only answer.
No, dude,
Whatever that is.
I hate
don't
to
know.
say this, bro. I hate to say this, bro. But when people start having really bad OCD and they start descending into that, if they've never dealt with it before, their mind will latch on to whatever it is at that moment, whether it's a fear of bacteria, a fear of height, the fear of different situations or people, or whether it doesn't mean that irrational fear is justified. It means that was just the one that was introduced to them at the time.
Right.
I got to tell you, after watching both of these videos, okay, and after kind of doing this detailed look at every square inch of what he's been able to say on cyberspace, this is a man under extreme duress. I mean, it seems like he is dealing with something very difficult and very hard. And I wish the blessings of God upon him. And yes, I will indeed pray for this person as well. At the same time, God damn all of the ex-Mormons that are trafficking in this man's misery.
Yeah.
Like, this right here is a man who is obviously struggling with some deep-seated issues that he cannot bring to the table. He's alluded to all kinds of disparate arguments. There's no cohesive through thread. I was a private investigator when I was in New York, and we had to interview tons of people to try and figure out. It was mostly fidelity cases, very boring stuff, nothing glamorous, okay? But you really quickly find through lines in people's stories, you know? That you can start latching onto. Yes, you do sometimes have to make sense out of a little bit of chaos here, but there's been no smoking gun presented here. There's been only vague, foggy vagaries that all kind of mirror ex-Mormon subreddit arguments. It seems like this guy's under a lot of mental duress and he's grasping at straws, and the ex-Mormon subreddit community is willing to give him straws and say, you know, this stress you're feeling. Yeah, it was probably because you're in a high demand religion, right? You're in a high demand religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're just taking advantage of this poor dude who is obviously under a lot of pressure. You know, like, even at this point, I feel so bad for him. I kind of want to stop talking about him because, like, there's just a lot of people that are obviously trafficking in his human misery, which unfortunately is kind of par for the course for ex-Mormon subreddit, dude. Like, I hate to say it, but
So
yeah, Brad.
here's a super chat that applies with this right now.
Okay.
From Clayton. It says he seems mentally unwell. Now, I am not a fan of saying things like that just based on things that we see from people just in what they have recorded. He might just be an awkward talker. He was much more articulate when he had his prepared speech for what he read in sacrament meeting, which I don't think was a great thing to do. but I think he was maybe just a little bit scattered in what he was saying and trying to formulate a response with this one. I do think he's definitely deeply upset about something, but I think it's maybe a little far to be speculating on his mental
I don't think
state,
it's fair to
right?
say that he's like, mentally unwell or incapable of making logical decisions. I think that
I don't think it's necessarily a logic. Like, I don't think he's, like, it needs to be committed or anything. But we've all had times in our life where just like the stress really did seem like too much.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it's not uncommon. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's people that abused you, Kwaku. There's people that tried to take advantage of you to make money off of you, and we did a whole podcast on that. And it seems like that's what the Exmo community is doing to this guy.
Well, I just say we still don't know. We watched 2 videos about him, and we know as much
Fair enough.
starting out as we do now. So I mean, maybe give it a week. Maybe more info is going to come out. Like we covered Tim Ballard pretty heavily, and we started learning as the hours went by more information. So we just don't know. But I mean, if he was abused at FSY, we're gonna hopefully figure out. I mean, not hopefully. I'm not trying to pry, but we may figure out what he means by that. If he was asked to do something immoral, we may figure out what he means by that.
I'll give him a lawyer to call. If there was somebody that abused him that is causing this level of anxiety in his life, I will. Dude, lawyer up, dog.
And so, I mean, those are 2 big things we have to figure out before we can really make a judgment. But I mean, it just looks like a guy who obviously he's leaving the church here, and that's a big thing that happens in one's life if you decide to leave the church. But I'm not going to judge or condemn or anything. But I mean, he did go publicly. I mean, he put this out in his own volition, and he did a follow-up. So questions are going to be asked about what happened to him at FSY and what was he asked to do. And maybe those 2 things are crazy. Like, maybe he was asked to do something horrible.
Yeah, but also let's not make this guy out to be some kind of a saint who's getting unnecessarily maligned. He did basically say this is a church full of mental reprobates and that we're all brainwashed.
Well, brainwashed zombies,
and so it's like, I mean, you don't get to rehearse ex-Mormon talking points and then rage quit from the pulpit publicly in what I believe is a unsanctioned, stake presidency. Obviously didn't give him permission to do that or know that was going down. You don't
I
get
see
a rage
what
quit.
you're saying, but I also think his reaction may depend on the 2 variables we don't have. Because, I mean, we've all said some stuff pretty angrily and hurtful, but when you see what was happened before, you maybe go like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, there's some degree of emotional response that can be more validated by what happened.
And I
we
will
have
definitely,
a couple more super
I will
chats
totally
that,
clarify before the super chats. My rage and frustration is not with him. It's with people that are trafficking in his difficulty. That is my, and I will gladly clarify right now anything that I've said in the previous podcast. If I misspoke or something like that, brother, my anger is not with you. It's with people that are feeding you this garbage in order to profit in whatever your doubt is or profit in whatever your misery is. Cause that's what they do. If you guys remember the first 30 rules of anti-Mormonism, what's rule like, I think it's number like 11 or 12. They always traffic in human misery. They don't protect minorities. They traffic in the misery thereof. And I'm sick and tired of an entire community that gets to find somebody who's weak in the knees because of something and then start filling their heads with some, doubts, lies, straw men, whatever, that only exacerbates the hurt instead of alleviating the hurt and turns them into, frankly, an incoherent hero. Because at the end of the day, what has he exposed? I mean, this is getting pitched to me on all these forums that I participated in on social media as some kind of grand step forward and some kind of great act of bravery. But to this day, like, I don't know what, I don't know. I would love to help this guy out somehow. And if there's a grave, a horrible moral calamity that needs to be corrected, I will mourn with those that mourn, comfort those that stand in need of comfort, and I'll rage on whoever abused you or whoever did whatever to you. But you got to say what it is, So in the absence of being able to say what it is now, both on Ex-Mormon subreddit and on YouTube, I don't know. It just makes me think that people are taking advantage of him. And at least that's the conclusion I draw based off of my life experience with these people. So,
I mean, he filmed it and chose to post it, but here's the
Super chats.
Or maybe it was his brother. That actually is maybe a little unclear. So super chats. We got Fidget the Crazy. I'm convinced that this guy has completely apostatized. And about the brainwashing, I can testify that we're not brainwashed. I highly doubt that I would act the way I do if I was brainwashed.
That's funny.
That's fun. Another Kathy Harbinger says, I think he is stressed beyond his ability to think clearly, and others are using him. I don't think he is an Exmo. I think he's emotionally shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see interpreting what he's saying in that way too. Next, we've got PC. Sorry for the confusing remark. Go Ward Radio. And then we believe he can believe whatever, but the place was inappropriate. Discussion of beliefs has always been a part of the gospel. Hardworking parents awaiting inspiration on Sunday did not deserve that. And that's something I want to point out. I don't think it's mean of me to point out that this was an inappropriate place for this guy to be saying this. I don't think it's mean to tell this guy, hey, you shouldn't be doing this in your Sunday meeting. It was a very self-centered thing to do. He literally talked about mostly himself within it, right? And I think it's important that he know that.
Paulie Nikes agrees with you. He says, even if this person is emotionally vulnerable, why are we treating him like an incapacitated person who is not responsible for his own actions? So looks like you've got a friend in the chat, Brad.
Yeah.
To his benefit, though, I mean, to be honest, I mean, he didn't come right out and say like, oh, I'm naming all these things about church history or whatever that are going to jab at your faith. He didn't do that over the pulpit. He kept it pretty benign and just saying there are some things I didn't agree with, and I need to resign over these things. So, I mean, that's to his credit that he didn't come out.
And if he would have just stopped there, I kind of would have been like, okay, cool.
And that's what I think it should have been, is that long. Like, yeah, I've asked to resign. It's not over sin. There were things that I was asked to do that I don't agree with, or whatever. I wouldn't even say that part.
Okay.
What?
I want to play devil's advocate real quick.
I'm scared.
This is an interesting question. I think I'm interested with the chat to say, but on this show, we have gone after a number of people who have anti-Mormon podcasts. We've done debunkings, we've done responses, we've just sometimes made fun of people. We've done everything. Okay, and whether it's a TikTok, whether it's an article, whether it's a documentary, whether it's a show, we've covered it. And now this is a live thing. This is a something that's not on a show or a program, but it was just in the sacrament meeting. Do we think there is an avenue for people who don't like the church to be able to publicly express it? Because we have kind of gone after every public expression of I'm don't like what the church does or teaches. But to be fair, we obviously should there has to be something we're okay with them being like, all right, that's the way to do it. Because I kind of feel like someone could say, you guys don't see any way for someone who dislikes the church to express that.
What are you talking about? People leave the church all the time. What?
No. But I'm saying
people go inactive all the time.
No, I'm saying as far as this show goes, right? We've responded to everyone who's publicly done anything. Well, we respond to everyone who's publicly said, I'm not a fan of the church. I don't like the church for
No,
XYZ
he didn't say,
reason.
I'm not a fan of the church. He said, I have been
No,
asked
I get
to
that. I
do
get that.
morally reprehensible things.
I know, I get that. But what I'm saying,
I get what you're saying, Kwaku.
If he did this publicly, but not on a program, not on a show, not on a TikTok. We've gone after all those avenues. Don't do this way. Is there a way that anyone thinks you should be able to be a public ex-Mormon?
So here's my thing. A public ex-Mormon, by all means, make your TikToks, make your YouTube videos, make everything that you want to, where you say, hey, I morally disagree with the church on these points, right? What I draw issue with the TikTokers and the YouTubers, and what I've talked about most on this show, is when they mock and defame the church, right? And when they put our temple clothes on, or when Nemo goes out and does his thing with the people who recorded the temple ceremony.
Or
that's
just
the kind of stuff.
Or just saying it's all brainwashing.
Yeah.
That just seems like a cop-out answer.
That's the kind of stuff that I think it's totally appropriate to say, yeah, no, that's wrong. That's actually bullying. It's bullying to let people say, the Mormon church is brainwashed. That's stupid. No, there's no place where you should be saying
cowardly.
crap like that.
It's cowardly to say, oh, I've been asked to do morally reprehensible things. You guys are all part of a bad church, and I'm going to leave because Mic's off. Now nobody can respond. Closing him. And here's your answer, Kwaku. Jonathan Streeter. Jonathan Streeter he had extremely, I get Jonathan Streeter. I think his decisions are wrong, and I think that his logic does not stack up. Okay. But
yeah,
he was an army. I'm going to do my best to steel man him because I consider him a friend and I want to, but he was in the army. He, as a medic, if I remember correctly, and he saw some really difficult and gruesome things in a war that he thought was fought under false pretenses of a generally socially conservative suburban church that he felt had supported those kind of false pretenses. And between the existence of an evil that he could not understand and did not make logical sense to him, that was incompatible with the nature of God that he'd been taught, and the frustration with the politics of the organization that was his religion and the organization that was his country, he lost his faith and he left. But when he did, he unfriended on Facebook every single one of the kids that was in his youth organization that he was the young men's leader of. Okay. And he said, look, I'm changing the direction of my faith, but it's, you're still under your parents' tutelage and they're your parents. I'm not your parents. It would be inappropriate for me to try and negatively impact your formative years like this in a way that would go against the your parents. And who knows, maybe they're okay with it and they want to expose you to it, but they get first dibs,
Mm-hmm.
So Jonathan Streeter did a 100% ethical exit from the church, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He didn't go quietly. I'm not asking for silence here. The dude literally started a YouTube channel. It's got like 10,000 subs now, and teamed up with a bunch of ex-members from other faiths that have even come after me, and fine. Now he's a warrior in the battle of ideas, and he's got a podcast called Thoughts on Things and Stuff, and I enjoy actually speaking with him. You want to know why? Because I don't think he's going to be a dishonest or an actor in bad faith. I know that if he calls me and he says, hey, we're going to talk about X, Y, or Z thing on the podcast, I know there's not going to be dumb gotchas. It's not going to be when, the Minority Report guy shows up when he was supposed to debate H3 podcast with Steven Crowder, and all of a sudden they did the bait and switch. It's not going to be any of that garbage, fake calling the cops on Kwaku because, he made a meme, or none of that garbage. I know Jonathan Streeter is a straight shooter that respects Chesterton's fence. So it's like, all you have to be is a straight shooter who respects Chesterton's fence. And I don't care if you rage quit online and you call me every progressive thing in the book. I am almost a free speech purist. Look, Nathan Bigler's still in this chat spouting his nonsense. I don't block him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's the way to do it. Just Jonathan Streeter should give how to not rage quit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's not a good habit to develop, guys. It gets rewarded on ex-Mormon subreddit because they love lapping it up like red meat to wolves. But the fact that they're encouraging you to rage quit is not a good life coping mechanism. It's not a good thing to do at your job. It's not a good thing to do in your sports complex. There's no area in your life that gets better by rage quitting. So anyway, Brad, keep going.
Okay. We got some more super chats to get into.
Okay,
but Quaker, do you feel like that addressed what you were
Well, yeah,
talking about?
I think that's probably going to be a subject that comes up.
We should do a full episode on that, I think, because I want to make sure that we get to the bottom of it in a way that's like, hey, yeah, we're not just against anybody ever having something bad to say about the church, right? Like, that people can have differences of opinion. What I don't want to see happening is people being like, hey, yeah, if you believe in the church, you're brainwashed. You just don't know the full truth, right? Like, that's deceptive and gross. I can't watch that and be like, he's just speaking his mind, I can't do that.
And I shouldn't have to fake that what you did wasn't self-centered and self-aggrandizing and inappropriate just to try and build bridges. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do something that's wrong, I'm going to tell you did something wrong. Just like if somebody on my side did something that was wrong, I'm going to tell you did something that was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
And
even on our Tim Ballard podcast, we're like, dude, no tears for this guy. He dogged us twice, didn't show up. Our interest is whether or not our church actually believes in excommunications via tabloid right now. This is a procedural argument that we want to get to the bottom of. And since everybody's speaking tribally, we're going to try and get as much facts as we can out of this case. And we had some of the best programming on the issue. All right. So it's like, we're this way with other people. Just be a straight shooter. You know,
Now,
it's not impossible.
One last thing to this guy's credit. He didn't say the brainwashing stuff in his ward, right? So like, at least that's not.
Oh yeah, he
what
only
was
said the
doing.
morally reprehensible part. So
Well,
your
that
moral
at least was about-
reprobates, not your moral reprobates,
certain
not
person.
brainwashed. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so
To Kwaku's comment, I guess I understand it, but I don't see when we're debunking somebody like Mike Winger, all these other guys that you've talked about. That's not me saying you're not allowed to say this stuff. That's me saying you are allowed to say this stuff, and then I'm allowed to explain why I
How
think
you're
it's
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that was I made that case in response to us saying it was wrong for him to do this in this public setting. So someone could easily interpret that as, okay, well, these guys go after people for saying this on their podcast and
Yeah,
on TikTok
that's fair.
and on Twitter and now in public. So where should we say it? Because that's a very
no, but we've never vilified somebody for raising their voice in social media. We've gone after their arguments, and that's different. Right now, we're saying the action of doing this in front of your ward was inappropriate. We've never said the action of making a TikTok was inappropriate.
I think it's like the Biola students down in Southern California who are assigned to go bear their anti-testimony in a Mormon meeting. I don't know if you know about that, but it's like that's not an appropriate
yeah,
way.
they come to our ward and do it. The Master's College kids
It's
for
like,
a while had
if,
that same.
If you
assignment.
want to talk about how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is wrong and has a false gospel, go ahead, do it, but don't go to our meeting houses on our fast and testimony meeting and bear your anti-testimony. It just seems very inappropriate.
Yeah, Danny Gray says Brad Whitbeck. So he played the nice in front of the ward, and then talked crap about them being brainwashed after the fact. That doesn't deserve kudos.
I kind of agree with that take.
Yeah,
I do too.
Sure, he said the nice thing at the church, but then he got the attention to go and say the mean thing.
So
afterwards.
what I'm saying with that is like, I think in his mind he was justified in saying what he said in front of the ward, but that he like clearly he thinks everyone's brainwashed, but he didn't go to the point that he was saying that in the ward pulpit. So there's
Right.
like that degree of constraint that he showed, which I think is
That's respectable.
And also, some people
Yeah.
are really just bad speakers. Some people
True.
are just really terrible
Fair enough.
speakers. So this might
Okay.
just be a guy who's like, this guy wasn't doing theater growing up. Look at him. He was in the gym. He was a
Also,
wrestler. He's doing football.
Snagret's got the most important comment of this half of the live stream. Snagret says, "Bro, Tember getting yoked."
Now,
Tember.
we've got a lot of
show him the
super chats
guns,
to
and we got to
catch
catch
up
up
on.
to the super chats. But show him the guns, bro. He's been working out.
Oh, yeah, Tember.
Not really. I didn't work out all December. So.
Old man wheeze.
Oh,
Okay,
come
so
on.
catch us up on super chats, Brad.
Okay. So we've got Kyle said he abused his ecclesiastical authority to tout his moral superiority.
Okay.
And that is kind of what it feels like a little bit. Aimed Music says, as a youth, yes, we go through crap, but we have been equipped with the armor of God from this true church based off good principles, not ideas of men. Yeah, I think that some of the things that the guy is saying sound to me like he was harmed by people who were not living the gospel, you know? And so
But
I
can we
appreciate
even
that comment
believe
from Aimed
this?
Music.
Like, nothing has been coherent. I don't know if one aspect of what he said is true because there's
I mean, let's get him on the show.
sure.
Tell us what he's thinking. Tell us
Sure.
what he was saying.
You
So,
are invited.
That'd be awesome.
Geography guy says it's like he's declaring he's leaving a Facebook group.
yeah.
It did have a little bit of that energy, maybe. Polly Nike's 2000 during Sunday's address. Where were the bishopric counselors and elders quorum president? Someone had authority and responsibility to stop this grandstanding nonsense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They couldn't have all been gone. That's why I think it was authorized, and that's why I think he also toned it down to be like kind of
Okay, what stake president was approached by a bishop that says, I lost my faith. I don't think the church is true. I'm an active member of ex-Mormon subreddit, and I want to talk about it to my congregation before I leave. That is either the most asinine church leader in all history who is not qualified to lead because he has zero understanding of the modern battlefield that is the politics of real life and the internet.
I mean, I know a stake president in Long Beach right now. He's an ex-stake president who is hosting a LGBT support group in his home where he was having members who were actively going against church doctrine on that issue lead the group. So like there's some stake presidents that are just a little out of touch, or maybe they're too in touch to where they allow things to happen in their stakes that probably shouldn't be done.
Yeah, bad leadership. It's like we have bad leadership on so many levels because our church has been on autopilot for 50 years. It's been a consistent complaint on this channel that like, how did somebody not see this coming a mile away? A mile away.
Dude, I mean, for me, I just look at it like this bishop has his agency. He can do whatever he wants.
That's true.
Even if the person, even if his stake president did see it coming, he may have been under the impression that the guy was going to choose differently, right?
So this would never happen.
He was intending to choose differently at some point.
This would never happen, Brad, but you and I are going to role play really fast.
Okay.
I'm the regional authority. Now, I'm an out-of-touch boomer because that's what most of our regional authorities are. Okay. And so my grandson has shown me this video, okay, because I don't have it myself. No, I'm just kidding. And that's far too pejorative. We actually have some really great regional authorities, all right? Let's just say I'm the in-the-know regional authority. I just saw this pop up on my feed. I'm like, I recognize that guy. He's brother so-and-so in the whatever ward. I call his stake president, and you're that stake president. And I say, what happened? How did you not see this coming? What's your response? He had his agency?
Well, to be fair, his beard was very blonde, so I couldn't tell the apostasy was there until it was too late. Right? That's what he would say.
That makes perfect sense.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, let's catch us up on Super Chats, Brad. Go.
Okay, so back to the Super Chats. Thank you, AKA NJ. And then we've got Glenn Hickman. I keep hearing about these rules of anti-Mormons. Is there a list of these that I can refer to? Where can I find it?
That.
So we need to do that episode.
That's the hidden gnosis. Actually,
And
Jonah
then-
Barnes has made a list of those and put them on the Discord. I am writing a book on it right now that is going to be released online in PDF format in orange and white. So no, keep going.
Oh my
Brad.
gosh. And then also from Glenn Hickman, Cardin is clean shaven and Kwaku is growing a stash. What the heck is going on? Is Kwaku growing a mustache?
Yeah,
I have a little bit of a stash.
it's kind of like it's in its
dude,
early
my screen
Arsenio.
is small enough. I can't.
I got cast as a Dominican, so I've got to grow. No, no.
Again?
Yeah.
You should do the Charlie Chaplin. It'll look good on you.
That's
little-
funny.
Yeah.
Little-
It'd be great.
Something tells me my stance on Israel-Palestine is not going to allow me to have that mustache.
Oh, savage, dude. Savage, man.
Okay, next up we got Brian Bacon. Abuses was fulfilling his calling, girls camp, YSA, whatever else he cited. Again, he felt seen and it interrupted his gym time.
Ooh.
Did he type that while
the
he's
real
just waking
abuse
up?
was
Yeah.
his calling interrupted his gym time.
Was that speech to text? There was a lot of
think-
autocorrect going on there.
Yeah, it sounded like it maybe.
Okay.
Now Rex Good says, "Hey Tember, good to see you, bro. Hey y'all, I've been abused in so many ways. I'd like to let the guy know that this kind of drama is not going to help him."
Oh, that's nice of you. That's good of you, Rex. That's good of you.
Yeah, because honestly, it just leads to people analyzing and trying to get what's going on because now you're dragging other people into it, you know? And now, I don't know. It's just not a great forum for it. But also from Rex, I do have some sympathy for his frustration. The church likes to keep quiet some of the more difficult things we might experience. That pressure can really make a person want to shout it out.
I mean, going
Okay.
back to the abuse thing, I mean, I personally know people who were sexually molested by Boy Scout masters in the church.
Ooh.
And so if again, I'm assuming because he hasn't really like been explicit about what it was, but like if that's what it is, you know, yeah, that can be testimony shaking because it was somewhat of a church program. The church endorsed it, but like it's not a church program. So
And there's scriptures about millstones
yeah,
that we got, that we'd love to introduce this guy to.
yeah.
So, geez, man, rough. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
No, I'm done.
No, you're done. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay, catch us up on Super Chats, Brad.
Okay, it looks like one came through without the comment for me, so I'm asking for that one in the chat.
Okay.
From AKA NJ. Just repost it. Give me like a asterisk or something to mark it, and I'll make sure to read it. Danny Gray, I would have felt bad for him if he hadn't abused his warden community as he did. If he went quietly, that would be one thing, but he chose to make it a scene. He is 100% the problem.
Oof.
And yeah, man, I feel for that.
I'm
like
split on it.
Yeah, me too.
It's hard because like yeah, he's clearly going through something, but at the same time that doesn't justify you making everything about yourself, right? Consider your ward, consider the people in your community. You're saying that you care about them, but your actions are kind of showing something different when you're making it all about you in front of them, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say.
And
It's hard to make a
I've
call.
gone from I heard that people were very mad that he like took all this time at sacrament meeting, and then I watched the talk and I was like, okay, well, like he said some nice things and he seemed to be trying to convey a good thing to the congregation. And then I watched the first half of his follow-up video. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then I got to the second half of his follow-up video, and now I'm like,
confused again.
Yeah.
because if he's in some sort of mental distress, I don't want to like layer on nitpicking how he goes about, processing that. But at the same time, there is the aspect of, look, man, if you're just making this all about yourself and not caring about other people's time when you're doing that, you do need to be held to account for that,
he didn't
to an extent. So
again, to his credit, I don't think he made it all about himself. I mean, he did try to point people to go to Christ, go solely to Christ, or however he worded it. So, I mean, he did kind of leave it on somewhat of a good note. In my honest opinion, I don't know.
It felt a little off to me the way that he put it.
It was off. He's obviously not a good speaker in public or on his Exmo video.
We're like trying to be so nice to this cat. It's like hilarious. Brad, catch us up with Super Chats because we only got 5 minutes left before we got to go. We're actually already into overtime here. So,
okay, cool.
Hit us.
So, we've got Stephen Diamond finally moved out to BYUI, so you guys should come here. I think in a few years, Rexburg will have massive expansions. 4 months, a channel member.
You can come visit me.
Nice.
I'm in BYUI or Rexburg, so
Yeah.
should meet up.
Rock
nice.
on. That's cool, man. All right, Brad, keep going.
Okay. So we've got Shannon Tracy again. Great discussion. AKA NJ says in Matthew 24:30 in the KJV, he specifically said Jesus wouldn't be coming back in the clouds. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was making a reference to maybe not emphasizing too much the supernatural exterior version of Jesus and maybe the interior, and maybe he was trying to wax poetic, but it failed a little bit. I wasn't really sure where to go with that comment.
Yeah, I think he was
because
trying
saying
to
he doesn't
say,
come
look within.
Yeah, saying he doesn't come from the clouds is like a direct refutation of prophetic scripture.
Yeah.
So
And I don't think that's what he was trying to mean.
Exactly.
That's part of why I would love to like chat with him on a show if he wanted to. I would also just like to chat with him and understand where he's coming from, because I feel like a lot of the things that he said could be taken multiple different ways, like Quaker was saying at the beginning.
Yeah, I honestly think we need to wait for more info.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hit us
And
up with
then-
the last of the super chats.
Oh, this one's a subject change. We got Michael Meads. Hey, what do you all have against Kaysville? LOL. Any thoughts on Fruit Heights?
Yeah.
Honestly, Fruit Heights is worse than Kaysville, you know?
Is it really? Why?
I have no idea. I've never heard of Fruit Heights.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's
I
the
have.
highest activity in the church. I served my part
really?
of my mission was there. Yeah, it's like 95% active. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Whoa! What makes it 95% active?
Just
The
the attendance.
brainwashing,
I also served in the adverse of that in Salt Lake City, where we had like 900 people on the roster and like 60 people show up. So it's like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I everyone from Kaysville or Layton or Farmington.
Well, I'd have a feeling
Is a
bomb
traitor.
is coming. Yeah, it's a
I don't trust
traitor.
anyone from like North Salt Lake to Brigham City. Yeah. Anybody in I don't need them. I don't want them.
Oh, that's funny. All right, okay. You just made
And
a
of
lot
course, because I know
friends.
Jacob Hansen and his wife are watching, Arizona. If she's from the Zona, leave her alona.
No,
There's no reason to ever speak to a woman from that state.
All right,
And now
that's
I just
funny.
need to change tack completely. Fruit Heights is the greatest. It's the greatest place ever. It's wonderful.
Is that,
It's
is that like a
fantastic.
market? What is fruit? What is that?
I think
Fruit
it's a
Heights?
city.
It's just a little, it's a
That
little
must
city.
be.
That
next
sounds
to,
like what your-
Farmington and
That sounds like what your redneck conservative uncle says to when he's like referencing San Francisco. You going there to that Fruit Heights? You know what I mean? Like,
So did you already get that comment by PC? We believe he can believe whatever, but place was inappropriate. Discussion of beliefs has always been a part of the gospel. Hardworking parents awaiting inspiration on Sunday did not deserve that. Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah.
Hardworking people waiting for inspiration. We don't want to hear your pity party, dude. Like, I'm sorry. The Lord in his infinite wisdom does not spare anybody from trials. And if you're going through a trial and you need comfort and you stand in need of comfort, then I will comfort you. If you need, I will mourn with those that mourn and things like that. But just listening to your rage crit is I don't know, that
and to be
fall
fair,
over.
when you say rage quit, I think that much more appropriately applies to Jeremy Runnels on the back of a truck with speakers, more so than this guy in his specific situation.
Okay, maybe rage dash quit isn't the right. What do you say when you use vagaries to insinuate that everybody in the audience is morally reprobate and they don't have a chance to defend themselves after you've basically called them morally reprehensible? That's not raging.
It's a very common, like,
self-centered
anti-ex-Mormon
bully
subreddit kind of, bully pulpit sort of deal.
bully pulpit. Okay, so when you want to bully quit next
Does that
time,
mean
is
something
that
different?
Is that a better term to call it? Cry bully quit.
Yeah,
cry
let's-
bully quitting.
I
It's
don't,
called cry
I don't think
bully
it was
quitting.
a bully pulpit. I think he was just an emotional wreck, honestly, and didn't
Yeah.
really know how to express himself correctly.
Well, he only
I-
had himself to blame because he was the
Yeah.
one that said, I'm going to go up there and say this. And if he's
Yeah.
an emotional wreck because he knew what was coming, he's the only
No, it
one
is kind of
forcing
bully
himself to do it. That is the definition of the bully pulpit. He had a pulpit that nobody could just take him out of. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
A public office or position of authority that provides its occupant with outstanding authority to speak out on any issue.
Yeah, it's the definition of the bully pulpit.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. So, if this were a Mormon saying something that ex-Mormons didn't like, he would be called an abuser. And he would be called a bully, and bully pulpit would be what they said he was abusing. But the second it's an ex-Mormon, no, it's a freedom fighter. It's a freedom fighter, and
Because from their point of view, it's a power dynamic issue, right?
Yeah,
Where
so
now that he
where's
has joined-
all the secular progressives on ex-Mormon subreddit? Instead of, clapping like bark seals, bad church, instead of clapping like bark seals, barking like trained seals, why aren't they saying, wait, the power dynamic between a bishop in front of his congregation was disproportionate, and this man abused his position of authority in order to propagate ideas that were not acceptable to the poorest among him, or whatever, all of their morality is garbage and crap, because whenever it applies to them, they never ever use it. So I have no respect for these people.
I can see that point.
Maybe
of view.
that's why I say
By the
rage
way, one thing to say, guys, we got a lot of people watching right now. What if we got more likes on this to get it out to
Oh, you done
Everyone,
did
like and
it.
subscribe.
You done did it. In fact, actually, we will give that shout out here. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, please make sure you like this stream. And also, well, actually, we do have a lot of people watching right now. You know what I'm saying? Usually double what we usually do. We got just a couple of minutes left. If you guys have any last thoughts, make sure that you just give us a super chat. We got 60 seconds left. Okay. Before we go, I'm going to give a little shout out to everybody that's participated with us. Okay. We've had Kwaku L with us here. We've also had Tember Harward. Tember, you run a really cool organization. Why don't you tell us all about it and how people can reach out to you and get to know you a little bit better if they want to?
Yeah, it's a really long name. Beacon Ministry for Same-Sex Attracted Latter-day Saints. And it's to, obviously what the name implies, to support members of the church who are maybe struggling with same-sex attraction and want to remain faithful to their covenants. I do a Rexburg-based support group. It's in person, and I also write a blog called Musings of a Queer Saint. So if you want to look at a faithful perspective on church issues regarding the LGBT issue, I address a lot of hot button issues from my perspective as someone who experiences same-sex attraction, lived an open gay lifestyle, then joined the church. So that's kind of my story, and I write about it there. So that's me.
And you're up in Rexburg now, right?
I'm in Rexburg, Idaho.
Did you ever live in Provo?
Nope.
No.
Provo.
Okay, cool.
From Southern California, moved up to Rexburg, Idaho by choice. Yeah,
All
not
right.
for school or anything.
Oh, just by
Yeah.
choice. Which is
Yeah,
gayer, Southern California or Rexburg, Idaho? Be honest.
Southern California.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I was
Yes.
like to say. That's
West Hollywood
hilarious.
all the way, man. Those were my
Oh, well,
gay
nothing
clubs.
beats that. Nothing beats that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there is some really good food out there.
There
you know what I'm
is.
saying?
There's some great stuff.
It's actually really funny when you look up Zagat, like all the top rated restaurants, there's like a lot of the dots start like, you know, like they really start congregating.
Gays love their food.
in a
I love
certain
to
part
cook,
of town, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, when you look up the Zagat rated food restaurant manual, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, and Luke and Brad, dude, hit us up. Where can people find you if they want to find you?
Yeah. Well, wait, who's supposed to go first, Cardin?
Go, Luke. You got
Guess
this.
me, because I'm talking. All right, first of all, Mike Winger, you have not escaped. We are still coming for you. You have not escaped our wrath with our original plan for the live stream.
That's funny.
Second of all, happy January 6th to all those who celebrate. Coming up here tomorrow.
Jeez
Insurrection
Louise.
Day.
Oh my gosh.
Did you just wish people happy in, and I won't say the rest of the word?
The church is opening the first half of Temple Square on January 6th. Dates are important in the church. It means something. So
Oh, God.
Is there going to be an Exmo insurrection in Temple Square? Is that your prediction or what?
It's kind of crazy that
no,
hasn't
no,
happened.
no. It's just a celebration. Like it's a commemorative event.
Are there going to be people gathering around the Capitol?
joking.
just like-
So joking.
Clearly the church is expressing support here.
Oh gosh.
That's funny. All right, keep going.
But I am in plans to start a YouTube channel here in the next couple of weeks, actually.
All right.
Oh,
People
nice.
will be able to find me there.
Okay,
when
cool.
that happens.
Okay.
Hence the fancier setup than I've had previously.
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
Quaker
say.
always likes to comment on. So
Yeah. You no longer look like
Yeah.
you're in a manifesto video.
no more hostage videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What'd you
that's
do with the
funny.
bodies?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
No, he's like, the first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight
You
Club.
hear that, Mike
right?
Winger?
The guy-
You keep it up, you're gonna.
Oh my
We're
god.
sending
He got
Luke Hansen
challenged
after
today.
you.
He got challenged today by Luke Hansen, and is he going to accept that challenge? Rule number, I think it's 7 of anti-Mormon. No, 12, I believe it is they're all cowards. He won't. Mike Winger right now will never debate us. He'll never debate. I don't like using the term debate. I would say have a regular conversation like bros. I'm not a trained debater, so I don't like using the term debate when what I'm really saying is just, you know, a conversation on the topic. Mike Winger will never talk to us, and he will never talk to Jacob Hansen because he is afraid. He can only operate from
Luke
the
Hansen.
security of Luke Hansen. No, not Luke. Sorry, Jacob Hansen. Jacob Hansen is the one
Oh,
that
he's the one who
challenged
issued
him
it?
today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he runs a
Both of
podcast
them.
called Thoughtful Faith. So, hey, we'll talk about that back and forth, maybe in a live stream tomorrow or something like that. Either way, this has been awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. You've been listening to Ward Radio.
We
It's
got
been
one
real.
more
Oh,
super chat.
one last super chat. Okay, before I give the outro, what is
Oh,
it?
and then we never got to the second dude's video.
Okay, hit it. Oh, we'll do that.
Okay,
another
that'll have
day.
to be number 2.
Yeah,
that'll have to be another
we,
two.
we can do that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian Bacon, Fruit Heights refused cable TV back in the day, and we're thought to be massive wackadoos in a neighborhood of Kaysville that thinks it's a city.
Oh,
Nice.
All right, rock on.
This little, what is that? Footloose community out there in Fruit Heights sounds like.
That's awesome.
Nice.
All right, cool, sweet. So, am I good to do the outro now, Brad? Am I good to do the outro now?
For sure. If
Okay.
anyone wants to find me, at Braderico, I think on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in the comments. He curates the comments and is a warrior. He's also going to be an apostle within
No.
10
Brad, is your
years.
middle name actually Taylor, or do we just start saying that?
Oh, no, it actually is Taylor. Like,
Oh.
for some reason, Cardin thought it was Delano for like 5 months. Like, I was like, dude.
Delano.
Yeah, he might have caught me off guard. So
Like
anyway,
Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
Yeah, exactly.
because he's so distinguished looking. So anyway, we're shutting her down. This has been awesome. Thank you for everybody that has given us a super chat so far. It's been awesome and it's been real. It's been real and it's been fun and it's been real fun. For this and more, please check us out at Ward Radio.